This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast. In
Views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL, but you're encouraged to like and share them on Facebook and other social media. And now, Joanne's World of Nutrition, located at US 1 and Orange Avenue across from City Hall in Fort Pierce. Here's your host, the one and only Joanne Seeger.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for spending some time with me this morning. I'm doing a little multitasking right now. Don't mind me. So let's see. I didn't even know the date today. Thank God you let me know what date it was. I still can't believe it's September. Holy moly. So happy September, everyone. I hope this month so far is going great for you. I see a lot of posts on Facebook about how the months are flying by for everyone and they can't wait for it all to be over. But we do have to appreciate each day as it comes. And, any day we get to breathe is a good day. All right. So speaking of breathing, I hope all my regular listeners, are practicing their deep breathing exercise each and every day. And for any newbies, I usually start the show with a breathing exercise. But today's guest, I don't want to lose 1 minute of his time, so we are going to go right into the nitty-gritty. But there is one thing exciting that I do want to announce. My online store is definitely up and functional, great deals, great products. So if you want to check it out, joannesnutritionworld.com. You have pretty much 80% of what I have at the store on the site now. So if you can't get to me, that's how you can get to my products and my great deals. Again, I'm always available for a phone call. Just give me a holler. So joannesnutritionworld.com. All right. So without further ado, so we have an amazing guest that has graced this show a few times already. So welcome back, Bert, from Positive Power Nutrition. Good morning, Bert.
Good morning. Thank you, Joanne.
Yeah, I'm a little hyper this morning. Can you handle it?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I think, we usually put a little MCT oil in our coffee, a little bullet version, and we ran out of the oil, so I was doing straight black coffee, a couple, nice big cups, and woo, it's hitting me fast and hard.
Yeah.
So well, and it's early morning for you, right?
It is. It's a beautiful morning out here in Southern California. It's going to be really hot today.
Oh, okay. So now you're talking to us, humid Floridians here. So what's hot for you guys there?
It's going to be probably 95, but we started out the day at 80% humidity. That's just not normal out here.
Oh, so we're like twins today then. Yeah.
Yep. And starting tomorrow, it's supposed to be between 100 to 115 for the holiday weekend. So.
Oh my God! All right, I'll pray for you guys. Holy moly! Oops. Okay, that was a loud beep. I'm awake now. See, that's what you needed to do to set me straight. You straightened me out with a big loud beep.
His phone's a little low. He needs to speak right into it because if I turn it up too high.
Oh, okay. All right, Bert. So you're gonna use the loudest, clearest voice right into your phone today, okay? So we can get a good can get a good live talk. So. All right. Well, Bert, I know you have a great bio, clinical nutritionist, CEO of an amazing company. Can you spend the first few minutes, in case we have any newbies listening, to kind of get to know you a little better? Okay. I don't hear Bert at all. Did we lose him?
No, I think he's still there. You still there, Bert? Oh, he has disappeared. He'll probably be calling
back. Here he is. All right, he's calling back. And so, all right. So, so Bert Golding is with Positive Power Nutrition. So if for some reason you can't catch the whole show, it's Positive Power Nutrition. And I think he's back on the line with us.
Yes.
All right. Bert, are you there?
You there, Bert?
Yes.
Okay, great. We lost you for a little bit. Bert, before I wanted to say when I lost you for a second, your website address. Could you tell the listeners your website address? Some people can't catch the whole show. So I figure if we put out the web address, just in case they can recall that, could you let everyone know how they can reach you or, a web address to get any more information about your company?
Yes, it's positivepowernutrition.com.
Okay, that's
So,
easy enough. PositivePowerNutrition.com. Perfect. All right. Well, Bert, I know you're a lot more than your company, so tell us about you.
well, I guess I've been involved in the natural supplement community for 36 years now, and for the past 15 years, I've worked as a clinical nutritionist. So that means I've had a chance to work with over 5,000
It's okay.
doctors, patients that have been referred to me, and really got to see what truly works. We use all of the best supplements from the best companies in the clinical work that I do, and we've got to see what makes the biggest changes in people's lives. So that's kind of my background. My wife and I have 10 children.
Wait, Bert. Please go back. What did you just say?
10 children.
Did you just say you have 10 children?
Yes, and they're all grown now, and our youngest daughter's getting married here in a couple of months. So, we...
Wow. I applaud you just on that one statement alone. Congratulations.
well, thank you.
I
mean, now
can't
we
believe
have
I've had you
13
on the show so many times and I never caught that one. Wow.
Yeah, we have 13 grandchildren, and so, just like everybody, it's a lot of hard work to keep healthy, but we put the work in, and I think that's for everyone who's listening to your show that actually puts forth the effort and puts in the work to improve their health. I just have to congratulate them. I have to applaud them. For everyone that thinks that you can just sit back and do nothing and be healthy, I think they've already discovered that doesn't work. So,
Yeah, everything good in life, relationships, health, it takes work, a lot of work. And parenting, holy moly. Well, definitely applaud you on that. And congrats on the wedding coming up. So super cool. Well, all right. So now clinical nutritionist. Sometimes, I know we've never talked about this before, but in Florida, the word nutritionist sometimes isn't recognized as much as the word dietitian. Can you tell us, like, what is it that you actually do with a client? Like, how does a clinical nutritionist work?
well, it's interesting because a dietitian is someone that's going to be trying to work out a meal plan for you, and everybody thinks a nutritionist does that, but it's not really. What I do is I work on helping individuals balance their body, and you do that through all of the inputs in your life, everything from sleep and water consumption, from supplements, from having good foods. But I found a long time ago that people really don't want to change what they're eating. I mean, they'll do it on their own, but they don't want anybody suggesting to them that they change what they eat. So what we try to do is we use various programs to balance out what they are eating. I know that changing your diet is a powerful thing, but it's kind of something that someone has to want to do. So with different supplements, I use a computerized system called a biomeridian machine. So it's a bioelectrical impedance measurement. It basically looks at all the energy flow at all the cells of the body. So our initial appointment is like an hour and a half, and we're able to have people bring in their big box of supplements or soaps or shampoos or medication, whatever they're having, and we're just trying to find out what balances them and what doesn't. So I'm not a medical doctor, so I can't tell them, change your medication, but I can say, with this particular med, you might want to go back to your doctor and see if you can get a different brand or a generic or something, because it's just not agreeing with your body. And so what we're doing is we're trying to look at how to balance the body out. And once that happens, people just can't believe it. I try to tell them, keep an open mind so you can believe it when you see huge changes in your health based on having a balance. For example, one of the things we've talked about in the past on your radio show is pH balancing, and that is the most powerful switch in the human body. If we can stay in the pH balanced range, which means not too acidic and not too alkaline, but very, very close to the midline, just slightly alkaline in the clear fluids of our body, that has an effect on 90% of all illnesses that have ever been recorded or ever given a name. 90% of all illnesses that exist are pH related.
That's an amazing number. And so now, and I am curious, now with the machine that you use, because I know and I am so thrilled that in all these years, the popularity of people trusting and using these machines it's getting much more socially acceptable. Like I see it on Facebook feeds. Everyone's talking about. Now, is your machine the one that they hold something?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, what you do is it has a very small electrical current that goes through the body. So what we have is a robotic probe. I mean, this setup is like $25,000 worth of equipment, but you're putting the probe over the acupuncture points on the fingers, the wrists, the toes. So there are 62 points, and sometimes they call it electroacupuncture, but it's not a treatment. It's just reading the body's electrical flows, and then the computer analyzes and looks at what is the underlying thing that needs to change, and then you're looking for which supplements or which changes in the inputs into their life is going to help balance it out. Once it gets balanced, some pretty amazing things. For those that are really serious and not just curious, but those that come in and come back and would see me every 5 weeks, sometimes they would have a list of 15 things that they would like to see improved in their health and in their body. And just by making small little adjustments, and adjustments would have to happen about every 5 weeks, and if they stuck with it for, until it's resolved, the longest I've ever seen it take is 14 months for a person to clear up everything on their list.
Wow, that's good, and that's the whole thing: dedication and the willingness to want to change, which is most important with anything. So now you mentioned alkalinity, and so a term that we know well in our industry and we really promote it. I know that I hear people say all the time, disease is only welcomed in an acidic body. So, in nature, we're always up against all the things that are producing acid and all the things that are producing alkalinity. And it seems like less and less of the products that we have to choose from in our everyday grocery stores are alkaline. I mean, less and less and less. And so can you explain to our listeners, in their life, what's producing acid and what might be promoting a healthy alkaline environment?
Yes, it turns out that if you're too alkaline, if you're on the extreme, then that'll still produce acidity in your body, because your body is constantly striving for balance on its own to try to get that homeostasis. So if a person becomes over-alkalized, then the body, in order to counteract that, will have to come up with more acid that already exists in the body. And what it'll do is it'll start to break down and dissolve the vital organs and the muscles in order to break the protein down into amino acids. So you don't want to be over-alkalized. But that's not a great percentage problem as far as the population. Right now in the United States, out of all of adults and adolescents, 95% of the people are in the acid range, which definitely is the environment for cancer cells to grow. Cancer cells feed off of acid. I know everybody's been told that they feed off of sugar, but they don't. They don't go for sugar. They only go for sugar that's been converted into a bad acid in the body. So the bad acids, the things you want to avoid, there are 7 acid-forming substances that will absolutely throw your body out of balance. The strongest of those is the coffee bean. So the coffee bean itself doesn't matter if you're having decaf or caffeinated. It has 208 different acids are found in the coffee bean, none of which, not a single one of them, is compatible with the human body.
All right, Bert,
So
I used to love you like 5 minutes ago, but now it's gone. Yeah. It's really gone, okay? I'm crying inside. I'm crying.
Well,
Okay. I've been in denial. I've been in denial.
For most individuals, it only takes one cup of coffee to throw their body out of balance because it's just overwhelmed. So, and it's also dehydrating. So what happens is to have good pH balance, you have to have hydration balance. So you need to be drinking the cleanest water you possibly can, just something in a normal pH range like a distilled or reverse osmosis. And you need to be getting 3 quarts or more per day. The ideal is 1 gallon of water per day. So I always tell people, for those that want to drink, soda pop or which is acidifying, or black tea, which is acidifying, or coffee, I said, well, get your gallon of water in first, and then if you're still thirsty, have those other things after the water. At least you've got a chance of staying balanced. Because
Okay.
what will happen is that your body does need good acids, okay? And everybody thinks that if you put alkalinity in your body, like I've heard people that are just, misinformed. They'll take baking soda and mix it up in a glass of water and drink that and think that's going to help them alkalize. And it absolutely does not. It destroys the digestive system. So eventually they'll have some of the worst digestive problems in the world, but it will not help the body alkalize. What does it is that it takes a good acid to push a bad acid out. So what are the things that we're encouraged to do that are good acids? That would be fresh squeezed lemon juice. That would be apple cider vinegar. That would be all of the omega-3 rich fish oils and flaxseed oils, because they're called essential fatty acids. Now, you would not be taking fish oil and get more acidic. What it does is it's such a good acid, it pushes the bad acids out. And the reason that works, and I don't want to get too technical, I know sometimes people say, oh, you get too technical on the radio, but for those that can grasp this concept, all acids have the same electromagnetic charge. They all have a positive charge. So when we learned about magnetism back in grade school or middle school, we learned that opposites attract and that like charges repel. So in order to push the bad acids out of your body, you have to have a lot of good acids. I think that's why we can look to someone who is kind of considered as the poster child for everyone that wants to continue tobacco use and wants to continue smoking. They all try to point to George Burns, who lived to be, I don't know, almost 100, or maybe he did hit 100 in age before he passed away. And they said, well, and he had he had his cigars and he has tobacco every day. I think that when the final book is written on his life, we're going to find out that he probably had fresh onions and fresh garlic at every meal, 3 meals a day, because the good acids that are found in garlic and onions will actually push the bad acids of tobacco out of you.
Oh, that's so
It's
interesting.
all about getting rid of the bad by putting more good in your body.
Okay, well, that's the first time I've heard you say that on the show, and I think my listeners definitely can understand that. But the one thing that I think is confusing for people, I do have many listeners that use that baking soda premise, and I do try to get them onto, your products instead. But so if you want to dive deeper into that, they're probably like, wait, why? I've been doing it for so long. And then the other one that there's so much confusion is whenever I tell them to do lemon.
It overworks the stomach acid pumps in your stomach, and eventually you can't get any good stomach acid, and you can't digest protein, and so the health goes down just consistently. Mixing up baking soda and water was successful when Dr. Simonici out of Italy, an MD that would have people from all over the world come to him when they had cancerous tumors. He would mix up that and put it in an injection with a needle, and he would go ahead and find out exactly where the tumor was. He would insert the needle into the middle of the tumor and inject without going through the stomach, without destroying the person's digestive system, he would inject that highly alkaline baking soda solution right into the tumor. And he would do that every day until a grapefruit-sized tumor would shrink all the way down to about a size of a kernel of corn. So he could get rid of all the cancerous tumor that way. But he would have to stop by the time it hit a kernel of corn, because if he missed the tumor and injected it into the internal bodily fluids, it would kill the person.
Wow. Okay.
You had to be really, really accurate. So this idea of drinking baking soda and water, it's just the body is going to fight against that. It will actually try to create a more acidic environment in order to balance out all of the alkalinity coming in through the baking soda.
Yeah, it sounds just like what the pharmaceuticals do. Okay, so before we had 2 more minutes before our first break, and so I wanted to back up to where you said the 7 worst acid things, which the coffee, unfortunately, being number 1. Do you want to keep going with that list? There might be people with pen and paper ready.
Let me finish the list because it's so
Sure.
important.
Okay.
And, it's something that eventually, for lifelong pH balance, you're going to have to deal with these.
Yeah, you're going to have to acknowledge. Okay,
so
number 2.
Not on a pH scale, but very quickly on an acid forming intensity scale, coffee would be a 10 out of 10. Then comes tobacco, which is like an 8 or 9 out of 10 as far as creating acidity in the body. Then you've got alcohol in any form. I know that people have been told to have a little red wine with dinner helps the digestion, but that's one of the biggest lies of the 20th century. It absolutely is not true. Alcohol is acidic, maybe 7 out of 10. Then you've got black tea or any tea that has tannic acid in it. Tannic acid is used for tanning leather. So you ingest that. What is it doing to your esophagus and your whole digestive system and the small intestine? It's destroying the villi, it's destroying everything in the body. That's a 5 out of 10, so it takes 2 cups of black tea to do as much damage as 1 cup of coffee. Then you've got carbonated beverages. As soon as you artificially carbonate something by pushing carbon dioxide into the water and then cap it off to trap those bubbles in there, you've created what scientists call carbonic acid. So you're drinking 100% carbonic acid, whether it's a cola or a clear, whatever type of carbonated beverage. Then you've got all of the sugars from table sugar, fake sugar, high fructose corn syrup, and sucralose and aspartame, and all those things. That's probably only a 2 out of 10 as far as acid forming, but it's still the quantity that we consume makes it very, very acidic. And then number 7 is what some people wouldn't even consider a substance, but it really has the highest effect. It's actually 2.5 times higher than the coffee bean, and that is bottled up, unresolved stress.
Oh, I love you, Bert. That's so true.
About doing deep breathing exercises. That is one of the best things for pH balancing the body, is to do that deep breathing on a regular basis.
Oh, see, I love you again. All right, awesome. So we're going to go on a quick break. When we come back with Bert, clinical nutritionist, is going to teach us all about alkalinity and how to get your body back in balance. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Guiding the Treasure Coast in health, one person at a time. That's their motto at Joanne's Nutrition World in the historic arcade building on US 1, downtown Fort Pierce. Joanne brings more than 25 years of experience in the natural health industry, right here to you. Take advantage of this free personal guide to wellness and good health. Meet with Joanne herself and get started. Nutrition World always provides you with the hottest new product lines and, best of all, expert advice from the people who care. Call Joanne at 464-3598, 464-3598, and learn the correlation between diet and great health. Stop in today. The expert guidance to health is always free at Nutrition World. Nutrition World in the Arcade Building, US 1, downtown Fort Pierce.
Listen to Joanne's World of Nutrition every Thursday morning at 10 on WPSL.
Hey, it's Dr. Ravi at Tradition Family Chiropractic. We are dedicated to serving you and your family with integrity, compassion, and innovative care through the most advanced chiropractic care ever in chiropractic history, encouraging your health and your family's health to its maximum potential on a regular basis. Call us today at 772-345-0060 or schedule online at traditionhealth.com for your free consultation.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
We now return to Joanne's World of Nutrition. Once again, here's Joanne Seeger.
Hey everyone, happy Thursday. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. I really hope that all my listeners are doing well, thinking positive, doing the deep breathing exercises. I can't stress enough that this time, more than any other time, that we take control of our health and our bodies. It's under no one else's control but our own. And we really, de-stress, get out in nature, do some deep breathing, spend time with, loved ones out in nature. Really, really critical right now, okay? I do want to mention, if you're just tuning in now, to check out my website, joannesnutritionworld.com. The online store is open, and Bert's products that we're discussing today are on there, and they have great prices. And his newest items that we're going to discuss at any minute now, we're going to have on there any second now. So you definitely want to check that out. And if you have any questions about his line, you just go to positivepowernutrition.com, and he has phenomenal products, and I have trusted them for a long time, as well as Bert, and he's definitely an expert when it comes to alkalinity and a clinical nutritionist. So he has worked not only from the company viewpoint, but in a personal, over 15 years of dealing with people and helping them get their health back. So, Bert, here we are again. I am going to, in my real quick way, reiterate your top 7 worst acid offenders in case anyone's just tuning in after the break. So bear with me here. All right. So Bert is saying, and some of these things are hard for me to really do, but I'm going to really try. I'm hoping that today's show is the motivation. So the worst offender: coffee beans, tobacco, alcohol, teas with tannic acid, carbonated beverages. Those are so popular now, all these fancy drinks making health claims, so really be wary of those. Sugars, and then of course stress. Okay, that little comment you hear all the time, stress can kill you. That's no joke. Okay, what our mind, our thoughts, how we let it control our day to day, it really has a powerful impact on our life. So be really careful of that number 7. But Bert, on a good note, you had some good things that we can consume, like you mentioned lemon, apple cider vinegar, essential fatty acids, garlic and onions. So thank you for giving us some hope and some things to consume. All right.
Well, it's interesting because most people will say, well, I've heard that all meat is acidic. And I said, it's all of the cheap meat is very acidic. If you have good grass-fed bison or grass-fed beef, it's not acidic at all. What happens is when you have grain-fed animals, everything from poultry that's fed grain, or from cattle or buffalo that are fed grain, that creates a very acidic condition. And then you're eating and consuming all that acid, and it just adds to our acid load of bad acids.
Okay, now I am under the assumption, though, that everything in the vegetable kingdom is much more alkalizing than any other food group. Is that still correct?
Yes, to a large degree, but you've got some fruits that are in that category. Lemon, all natural citrus that's fresh citrus or fresh squeezed citrus juice. Now, if you have fruit juice from concentrate, whether it's citrus or any other fruit, the fruit from concentrate, it's not only acid forming, but it's loaded with aluminum.
Oh my God, Bert. Okay, wait, back up. We've got
some people that grew up having the frozen orange juice. I remember, that was one of my jobs as a kid, was to squeeze out the frozen orange juice out of the can and then add water to it and mix it all up, and we would drink it. And you've probably got almost half of the people that are in Alzheimer's care facilities, they can trace the Alzheimer's back to consuming orange juice that was not fresh squeezed.
Yeah, right out of those little cans. I remember that growing up. My mom would just pop open those cans.
Yeah.
So, that's scary.
But
Luckily,
now,
I'd never
now
liked the
it's
taste.
It's even in regular containers. There's even one brand that's called Fresh Squeezed, and so everybody thinks, oh, okay, this is fresh squeezed orange juice. But no, that's just the brand name. That's their trademark. But at the very bottom, it'll say from concentrate. So again, if you can avoid those, you definitely want to do that because they're acid forming. And so when you look at that, you're going, okay, fresh versus not fresh. Everybody thinks that all tomatoes are very acid forming. No, canned tomatoes are. Canned tomato sauce, canned tomato paste is because they'll add a lot of vinegar, not a good apple cider vinegar, but they usually add white distilled vinegar or a lot of white table sugar into the tomato sauce and tomato paste. But if you have fresh tomatoes that you're picking right off the vine, or you're getting them at the farmer's market, or do you sell tomatoes at your store, Joanne?
I don't, but we do have a lot of great markets here in downtown Fort Pierce that do.
Okay, so when you've got fresh tomatoes, they're alkaline forming. So you've got all of these myths out there because it turns out that if you realize that pH balancing can help clear up 90% of all illness, there's a lot of very, very powerful factors in the world that would love to see illnesses continue because it's a multi-trillion-dollar business dealing with disease. So a lot of times it's not just telling people that pH balancing is not important. They tried that, but people figured out that it was important. So instead it's telling people to do it wrong, like to test your urine pH, which really doesn't give you any valuable information at all. So you need to test the saliva to find your true pH of the body. You need to not be listening to these things that say, avoid everything that's acidic. Now, you don't want it to be acid forming because that means that it's creating the bad acids that your body has a hard time eliminating. But it turns out that 99% of all food, including vegetables, is acid by nature. So all of the best foods in the world, to verify this, you go out to the USDA website at usda.gov and look at the pH of everything there. There's only one or two items in their entire database of thousands of foods that are actually in the alkaline range.
Wow. Okay, so like you said, it's not about that. It's more about the things that are those 7 worst offenders, which seem really not natural in our nature. It's the things like man-made for the most part, other than a couple. But
right, and then you want to load up on all the best good acids you possibly can. People should be having more fresh fruit, more fresh vegetables, more good, wholesome, not the factory farm type things, but the grown correctly. Yep. Obviously,
go back to
there's
the
a whole
local
other
markets.
problem with,
yeah. But Bert, I got to go back to the lemon, okay? So the lemon, I understand the cans and those concentrates and the big, huge ones that you see in the marketplaces. But what about like the little glass bottles of the lemon juice? Are those still bad?
They're not helpful. They're not as bad as other things, but it's just not the same as a fresh squeezed lemon. Okay. I mean, my wife growing up, they always had a big lemon tree just outside their back door, and they'd go out there and grab a lemon and squeeze it, but if you take a half a lemon and squeeze it into a glass of water in the morning, matter of fact, if you like hot coffee or hot tea, go ahead and heat up the water, squeeze the lemon into it, add a little bit of natural maple syrup or stevia or something that would be a good sweetener, and have that every day. it's I mean, there are several natural doctors that really know what they're talking about that are saying that you should be having the fresh squeezed lemon juice in your water throughout the day, maybe 4 or 5 times a day.
Yeah,
because
we
it
agree with
aids
that.
the pH balancing.
Yeah, we were getting maybe a little lazy and thinking that out of the bottle was easier than squeezing lemons every morning. But we will go back to squeezing those lemons, and it makes the house smell so good too, and it makes you feel happy just smelling that unbelievable, awesome smell. Super cool.
Yeah.
All right, so you mentioned about testing your pH. I do have your pH strips at the store. So can you tell everyone the trick with the plastic spoon and how to do it?
Yes. Yeah, what you want to do is make sure it's a laboratory grade or clinical grade pH test strip like the ones you have at the store. You're carrying the Power of pH brand test strip, individual strips with 2 color blocks on it. Okay, that the roll of litmus paper is not going to be accurate enough. It will not give you a true picture. And if you are testing your pH and you're not doing it properly, then you have just a incorrect picture of what your true health is. So what you want to do is once a week only. You don't test every day. You don't test multiple times a day. All that does is creates anxiety, which leads to bottled up stress, which is the worst of all of the acidic offenders. So what you want to do is once a week when you wake up first thing in the morning, that way you know that you've been fasting, you haven't been chewing gum or having breath mints during the night when you're asleep, you haven't been eating anything. So when you wake up, before you brush your teeth, before you eat or drink anything, you go ahead and salivate in your mouth. You drool that saliva into a little plastic picnic spoon. You take the test strip, you put it in there, you move it back and forth for about 20 seconds, take it out, gently blot it on a napkin just so that it's just the color without liquid on it. And you match that up to the color chart. And people say, well, it's hard to read. Well, it just takes practice. You just do the best you can, and you write that down on a calendar or a chart, and you keep track of that every week, because what that's going to do is it's going to tell you whether your lifestyle is leading towards pH balance or away from pH balance, or if you're just stuck in the same spot. So as far as people that just, have a hard time giving up coffee and it's so acid forming, there are actually 3 women in the United States that I've met that are able to still have a cup of coffee a day, and they're still pH balanced because they have no stress in their lives. I mean, none. They have no family stress. They have no financial stress. They don't worry about things. But for you to know what you have to change in your lifestyle, you've got to be doing that test just religiously every week, and you need to mark that down so that you know where you're at. And it's an early warning system. Once you're pH balanced, you continue to test every week. My wife and I, after 15 years, are still testing every Sunday morning. And occasionally we'll miss a week, but we try to make sure it's every Sunday morning. I record that, and when it goes outside of the healing range, which is 7.1 to 7.5, when you're outside that range, that means, okay, something is not right, and I need to examine what am I doing differently.
That seems so practical, easy to do, affordable. That's a great idea. Now, so we only have 15 minutes left, so we got to get into the nitty gritty of these amazing new products. So for a long time, we've had your silica, your super silica, your cell power. Now you have sent me 3 really cool products. I've been dying to get into them. So we are showing them live right now on the station. So we have the Cell Power Spray, the Super Silica Spray, and the Eye Energy. So you you pick, Bert, what you want to talk about first, but I really can't wait to tell my listeners all about them.
Well, with the sprays, that's just basically people for over 60 years had been using the drops and making up their own sprays with the Cell Power and Super Silica to put on the skin. But about 4 years ago, the regulators came along and said, okay, you're not really allowed to talk about dietary supplements or foods being put on the skin. And at the time, I remember thinking, well, what am I going to tell all the people that use aloe vera on their skin for sunburns, or all those that use avocado on their face when they go to a day spa? But anyway, they were just saying, no, you're not allowed to talk about it. So we went ahead under a cosmetic label and came out with the Cell Power and Super Silica sprays, and they are just amazing. When it's cosmetic label, we can only talk about it in terms of cleansing, beautifying, attractiveness. But when you use the Cell Power spray on warts, moles, skin tags, cold sores, fever blisters, scar tissue, acne, swelling anywhere, it really adds to the attractiveness and the beauty, and it's an amazing thing. Now, that would be for any skin beautifying that has to do with anything that's raised, like those things I just mentioned, warts, moles, skin tags, anything that sticks out. The Super Silica spray is for everything that would be flat, so from age spots, liver spots. It's used for stretch marks, anything that goes in or anything that's flat. And that's what those two sprays are. And people have been using them in the most interesting ways. I would say by next year this time we should have another 100 uses for the sprays, because people all over the country are doing it, and they call up and they say, did you realize that I'm using it for this? For example, a lot of people that are wearing face coverings or masks during the pandemic are finding out that they're not changing their mask or washing it off enough, and they'll get a kind of a nasty rash where the face mask is. And so the Cell Power topical spray will clear that up really quickly in less than 2 days. There have been other people that are going through chemotherapy treatment with their doctor, and they get a chemo rash on their body, and they'll use the Cell Power spray, and it helps clear that up. We've had people that have swelling on the ankles or feet from gout, and they'll go ahead and spray that on there. Not only is it more comfortable and they have some relief, but it helps with deal with the swelling issues.
Wow.
So that's the Cell Power. The Super Silica, I use that every day. I spray it on my scalp before I brush my hair, and my hair has always been very, very fine. And now it's got some body to it, and it's wonderful. I also had a couple of dry patches on both sides of my face over the temple, just past the corner of the eyes, and I've been putting the Super Silica spray on that, and it's the only thing that's gotten rid of that rough patch of skin.
Well, I have the same exact thing, Bert. On both sides, I have a little rough patch. That's so weird.
Yep.
Okay, so now both descriptions sound like phenomenal, and I'm sure my listeners can agree, almost to be like, wow, could this be true? Kind of phenomenal. So can we use both? Because I like what both do. Can we do both together?
Yes, some people do that, but there really is a different purpose for each one. I mean, I use both in the same day. I use the Cell Power spray as a completely natural underarm deodorant. And Joanne, I've got to tell you that even though there's a lot of natural deodorants that are out there, I just don't like some of the ingredients in them. So with this one, I'll go ahead and spray under each arm after I shower. And the first time I did it, I was odor-free for 24 hours, which is what you'd expect. The second time I did it, it lasted for 48 hours, and the third time I did it lasted for 72 hours. It is such a high electricity in the Cell Power liquid in the spray that it creates an environment where all of the odor-causing bacteria is not causing odor. It's not active. So I use that every single day. I've already gone through more than an 8-ounce bottle. I'm on my second bottle in the past 6 weeks. So I use that every day and can use both of them. People really do. Some of the things they'll do is they will use the Cell Power spray all over their body when they get out of the swimming pool or even after a shower, because we have a chlorine filter on our shower head, and I know a lot of people do, but sometimes I don't always change the filter part of it. And some people don't even filter their shower. So you have all that chlorine exposure as well as all of the other dangerous chemicals that are in tap water. And it seems to be that the Cell Power spray is a great way to neutralize all of the drying effects and all of the bad effects that you get from chlorine exposure. I mean, you go into a swimming pool and you think, well, I'm safe because there's got a lot of chlorine in the pool. But afterwards, it's just really damaging to the body. So people will spray it on all over and rub it in, and that's the Cell Power.
Well, especially that we're having the show here in Florida. I mean, basically what you read in the directions for these, where it says, smoother skin, protection, scrapes, insects, too much sun, perspiration. you are talking to us Floridians here. We're dealing with too much chlorine, too much sun, all the time. So definitely is needed
and
here.
when it comes to insect parts, Cell Power has always been powerful for anyone that is allergic to mosquito bites. They get one bite and they puff up like a balloon, and it's really itchy and everything else. If you, right after the bite, if you spray the Cell Power spray on, there's no swelling and no itching. And then we had one of our employees that went to visit family down in Texas, and there was a whole bunch of mosquitoes, and she said, I want to find out if it kind of persuades the mosquitoes not to bite you in the first place. So she went ahead and sprayed it on all over exposed skin, and she was the only one that didn't get a single bite at the picnic.
Okay.
So,
well, my listeners are probably saying, well, Bert, you don't know our no-see-ums and red ants. They're relentless. So any stories about no-see-ums or red ants? Do you think that it might help with those?
I don't know, but people have been using it for all kinds of spider bites, everything from the most poisonous spider bites. I'm not saying don't seek medical attention if it's a serious spider bite, but we have people that will put it on there. They use it for cat scratches that can get infected. It's just a wonderful spray that just helps cleanse, a deep cleanse in the skin when you use it. Now, with the Super Silica spray, we have a health store owner in Alabama, and she went ahead and thought, well, it talks about smoother skin and that it gets smoother every day and it's the best you ever had. And she goes, well, I'm going to put it to the test. So she went ahead and put it on her feet, on the rough skin on her feet. And within 2 or 3 days, it was the smoothest. And she just now talks to every single person that comes in the store. She wears sandals, says, look at my feet, look at my feet.
Oh, my gosh, that's so
she's in her
cute.
60s, and she goes, it's absolutely smooth. It's like the best her feet have ever been. It's that Super Silica spray. It's cleansing, it's nourishing, it's hydrating. It's pretty amazing.
Wow. Well, I definitely feel like I want to take a bath in it every day. So sounds awesome. And for all my listeners, Bert was sweet enough to send me a tester bottle of both of these. So if you want to experience it, it's right there at the store. We have a whole display right set up on the counter. So you definitely got to come check it out. And he has lots of literature at the store. So if you want to just grab something and learn more about it, or go to his website, positivepowernutrition.com. He has a lot of really awesome products. His Cell Power is phenomenal, and now he has these cool, convenient sprays, so you can use it externally, safely and easily and affordably. But there is one more. All right, tell us about this new super cool eye product.
Okay, so Eye Energy, it comes in a little 1-ounce glass bottle with a dropper, and it is a cosmetic formula for using around the eyes. And the reason it's called Eye Energy is that out of everything in the human body that uses up electrical energy and just drains us and makes us tired, the number one is digestion and number two is vision. So every time our eyes are open, it uses a tremendous amount of electricity. Just focusing, far or distant, the eyeball has to change its shape. It has to change the focal length. To change the shape of an organ requires so much electricity that it's borrowing electricity from all of the skin around the eye. So as you use this, you can put it on your eyelid, you can rub it all around the eye. It helps get rid of those crusty things that you wake up with in the morning, but it actually helps hydrate and energize, and then the eye can draw on that energy because there's more energy there. It's safe to get in the eyes, so I just let it go right into the eyes, and I end up seeing more clearly and more light gets into the eye. I can put the Eye Energy drops on both eyelids and just kind of let it go into the eye because, it's not an eye drop, but that's what I let it do. And within 2 minutes, it's like somebody's turned on another bank of lights in my office.
Wow.
Because
Bert,
it takes electrical
drop
energy
it on the
to see.
eyelids and just let it run down, or do you use a cotton thing and just press it over?
I just use the dropper over the eye, and then I make sure that I do all the skin around the tear ducts and all of the skin. That's
you just pat it with your fingers.
I just rub it in, but on the eyelid you would be very, very gentle. You don't want to rub the eyelid.
Wow, this is so exciting. How cool, because so many people, they're glued to their technology and they're getting such eye strain. It's horrible. So
Well, and the other product that's a companion product to that, maybe we can talk about next time. It's called High Potency Night Eyes. It's a capsule, and I've been using that with the eye energy, both of them together, and some amazing things have happened. So maybe next time we can talk about that. I know
we
sometimes
definitely can.
a listener will not think that it's possible, but I just say give it a try. It's guaranteed. You'll find what will balance out your vision problems. But for right now, all the blue light from more computer use, more device use, is just burning up all of the nutrients that our eyes need.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, I mean, people are starting to understand we are electrical beings, and we definitely need to keep that in check. And, we want to, vibrate at a nice high vibration and get the most out of each day that we're living. So your products definitely help people get that goal accomplished. PositivePowerNutrition.com, Cell Power, Super Silica, sprays. These are really good, healthy products that are legitimate. They're not just a social media story of the month that, tries to rob you of your money. So definitely go with companies that you trust, that have been around, and actually, like Bert, has a field of helping people. So he's working in the front lines, and he day to day knows the real stories and how to correct them. So Bert, once again, thank you for being on the show. I super appreciate it, and I hope you have an awesome week, and I hope this high heat doesn't damper any family time.
Thank you so much, Joanne.
All right, take care. All right, everyone. So definitely check out my website, joannesnutritionworld.com. My husband works super hard on getting that online store together, so check it out. Great deals on joannesnutritionworld.com. Just click shop. You can buy CBD on there as well. Right now I just have the house brand. It's a separate shopping on the home page versus the shop page. But if you have any questions, just call us at 772-464-3598. Thanks for spending some time with me this morning. Bye.
Like and share the archives on YouTube. Go to WPSLTV.com. Find our YouTube channel for WPSL Radio. Find Joanne's World of Nutrition there. And enjoy the archive. Stick around. Dr. Stuart Shipe's Holistic Health Hour following CBS News. This is WPSL Port St. Lucie. On Google Home, Alexa, and the TuneIn app for your smartphone from your free Google store. It's 11 o'clock.